My name is Marjorie Perry. I am a proud alumna of 2005. I am the co-chair of the Board of Overseers, and I get to be your mistress of ceremony for this wonderful festive occasion. We're so excited that all of you could come out. I'm so proud to see our student athletes. This is just really a tribute to them as well. And we're going to talk about what this groundbreaking ceremony is for the Wellness Center and Event Center. This is big not only for NJIT, it's big as well for our students and for the community. And after that, we're going to have a very special announcement about the NJIT Next campaign. Our wonderful Dr. Chuck Dees is going to come up and talk to us about that in a few minutes. So this is going to be an exciting round table of get in, get out, tell you all the praises of that things that we're doing, and the staff and faculty of all the greatness that they put in for their time to make this happen. So let's get started here. Now, I'm not a big person to read a lot of notes about Dr. Joel Bloom. I'm going to read a little bit, but I'm going to tell you from my heart who he is. So let me start with my heart portion. This is a man that gets it. This is a man that comes here every day, not only with a vision, but making sure that he has teams of people around him to help implement it. He gives leaders the authority to make the decisions. He gives leaders the authorities to say, listen, you get it right, we all win. That's the kind of man that I'm getting ready to introduce. I am honored to serve under him. He constantly reinforces anyone that walks up to him and needs advice. So I'm going to tell you what they have in here, because I know I'm embarrassing him over there. He's pulled out his phone 3 times, but that's okay. He's also full of energy, that's for sure. He has great ideas, which I just acknowledged, and the urgency to meet the dramatic needs of our students, so they, in turn, can make great contributions to society. It is why we're here today, focused on this fabulous new project that will become a beacon for NJIT's campus. As a businesswoman, I admire and respect everything that Dr. Bloom does. Ability to get things done, that's his middle name, last name, and possibly his first name. NJIT now has a national reputation for academic excellence and superb return on investment. And before I start further embarrassing our wonderful Dr. Joel Bloom, I'd like him to come to the podium, and he will take it from there and give us all the next level of excitement.
So first of all, I welcome. Thank you all for being here this morning. And I'll make some formal introductions shortly. But this is a very sizable crowd. And as Ms. Perry already has said, and if you don't know who Marjorie Perry is, not only is she an alum of the institution, not only does she an incubator company, but actually she's well grown beyond that incubator company. And if my data are correct, she has the largest owned female minority construction firm in the state of New Jersey, and is engaged in many significant projects here in the state. And she is the vice chair of our Board of Overseers, and I'll make some further introductions of those folks shortly. So let me start, please, with some of the dignitaries. And I'd love to say a lot about this guy, but the chair of the trustees is going to make the formal introduction. But here is an alum of ours, a double alum, Senator Paul Sarlo, Deputy Majority Leader of the Senate. Please, Paul. A gentleman who in this county needs no introduction, but if you drive around Essex County and you see the parks and new parks, right here a couple blocks from here, for example, and you see new senior citizen housing and facilities, and you see open green space, and if you had ever been to what used to be a little zoo here in the county and a little aquarium here in the county, it is massive. And if you've not visited that with its own restaurant, you don't know Joe DiVincenzo. Joe, please, our county executive. Thank you. We think we build stuff here occasionally on the campus. This guy's constantly in construction mode. Thank you, Joe. I don't see my colleague, I know she's supposed to be, is Gail Gibson here, the president of Essex County College? Not yet. Our Board of Trustees, you'll hear from him shortly. Steve DePalmer, also an alum of this institution, 1972. Please, Mr. DePalmer. I see some of my trustees here, Phil Beecham, Peter Sestero, please. Steve Cordes, who you'll also hear from lately, Gary Doms. Thank you. From our overseers, we mentioned, is Liz DePalma. I saw Liz, I did that again. It's a long story. Liz Garcia, please, Liz. This is going to cost me a lot of dinners. I'll be having dinner with these folks till... Anyway, Karen Fryer de Souza from the Overseers. Karen. I saw Dave Glockel. Where's Dave, please? An Overseer, Langham Engineering. Emil Herkert, our Chair Emeritus, please. Steve Califer, please. Steve. Arthur Kapoor. And I saw John McCann. Where's John McCann? Hiya, John. Thank you. I need the AECOM to stand, please, the whole team. Mr. Smeltz is included. Ed, please. If you've not noticed, they are the workers behind this project. Torcon, Ben Torsivian Company. I saw Ben. Where are you, Ben? Please, the Torcon group, please. And is Cambridge here? I didn't see the Cambridge folks. Where are you? Oh, there they are. Welcome. Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce some of my colleagues. Provost and Senior Executive Vice President who helped us get this project conceived. Please, Fadi Deep, Dr. Deep. Somebody described him a little while ago as my partner in crime. Is Dr. Dees? Where's Charles Dees? He's here. Oh, there he is. Chuck. Ed Bishop, who's going to fund this whole thing out of our budget. Thank you, Ed. Our Senior VP for Treasury and Finance. Don Sebastian, please. Don, our Senior Vice President and President of NJIT. Charlie Fay, who heads up everything students and athletics, is his bailiwick. And you probably have seen we're doing a couple of these things this year. That is groundbreaking. And without this gentleman, along with the outstanding support of the trustees, we got all of this done from early conception, if you will, to where we are here today in maybe about a year's time. And without Andrew Chris, our vice president, please, we wouldn't have been there. Thank you, Andrew. Where's our general counsel? All our contracts get signed by our general counsel, Holly Stern. Thank you. So as you've read, this is the Wellness and Events Center, and it is aptly named. It will serve those two functions. Today, NJIT, the Newark College of Engineering, is the largest college of engineering in the greater metropolitan region. Our College of Architecture and Design, and I saw our dean here, Rizko Shat, who's been instrumental in working with us on this project. You can't have a school of architecture and not use your incumbent talent, if you will. So it will first and foremost, and that's that is the largest College of Architecture in the greater metropolitan area. So we're continually asked to host events here, professional events, conference events, training events. So you will see as some of the pictures rotate through, a facility that can house a conference of about 4,500 people. So the first function is for our professional education. That's the first function of this facility. The second function, you see a lot of students standing here. They stand a lot of places these days because we have over 11,000 students on this campus. And what we must have is more social space for our students. So as you will see in this facility, we have made sure there is social space in this facility. You will also see that about almost 60%, is multi-purpose. It's multi-purpose. And then the remaining, about 29% of the facility, is for our athletes. And I have to say some things about our athletes and our coaches. So you come to this university, and many of you in this audience are alums of this university. And you know the rigor of the curriculum, how rigorous this curriculum is. And some 6 to 8 hours a day, we are aware our students are doing work related to their academic program well beyond the classroom. So these other student athletes show up, they practice, they compete. Our coaches are here with them early in the morning into late in the day. We win a pretty good game every now and then. I could tell you Michigan stories for the next hour. My wife and I, who I have to introduce at this point, Diane Bloom, please. Thank you, Diane. So Michigan, and you know, a number of you have heard this, there's a little piece of software called Meltwater. It calculates the value of media coverage. Media coverage calculates the dollar value as though you were buying the advertisements. $2.25 million in media coverage because of Jim Engels and the men's basketball team beat University of Michigan. Only to be eclipsed. So there's the student athletes. They're probably leaving to go to class or practice. Class, right? I hope I'm right. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for getting here. That whole $2.2 million budget is more than Chuck gets in his budget for marketing and advertising and branding for about a decade. Only to be eclipsed when we joined the Atlantic Sun. And I've had a chance to now work with the presidents of the other 7 colleges and universities. This is an outstanding conference. We think we have rigor. This conference is full of academic rigor. And that was, I think, $3.2 million, if I remember, from the Meltwater data. So the WEC will have everything for our students. It will keep them fit. It will keep our faculty, staff, and students fit, and anyone that the county executive wants to bring here as well. Within limits, Joe, within limits. It will have a fitness center, a pool, a diving area, indoor track, which will encircle the arena. A lot of comments about the track. A lot of study space, communal space. Size of the building, 200,000 square feet, almost the size of the Central King building. And if you've not been in the Central King building yet, I ask you to go to 3rd and 4th floor and see the work that's been done there. And then we're going to invite you soon back to see the first floors and how beautiful that is. So the WEC is going to be a 3-story building. A lot of natural light is in the building. You'll see one whole side of it is glass, and that's going to be facing the field. The WEC is going to be built right here, just about probably where most of you are sitting. And where's Lenny Kaplan? Oh, there's Lenny. I have to say something about Lenny because this is one time somebody has topped Lenny. Lenny is always on the ball on everything. But Lenny, I got a question asked this morning by the county executive. It's a great question. I don't know the answer. If we're building the field here, what are we doing with all of this nice finish that we currently have on the field? We don't know yet. Joe may have a place to put it. We could have a deal here. Mr. County Executive. So we got all the coverage I talked about, everything, the Wall Street Journal, et cetera, on that great basketball team. And by the way, if you turn on, are we going to be on ESPN3 this Saturday? We're going to be on a network. So since we were able to beat the University of Michigan this year, Engels and Kaplan conspired to play the University of Kentucky. But if you don't know, in my background, I was educated as an economist. So I look at the other side of the deal, and the payment for, I can't announce this publicly. Can I tell them we're getting $200,000? Okay. We're getting, so we're getting $200,000 to go to Lexington and play in a very, very competitive basketball team. So WEC is part of $300 million. I mentioned Andrew is overseeing this. Central King Building, Life Sciences and Engineering Building. Fadi Deek and our faculty have done a superb job in figuring out how do we do this interdisciplinary network that's needed in the whole area of life sciences and engineering. So the WEC for us is a game changer. Some people have described it as an iconic building for this university, from the design to the functionality. I would propose to you it is an iconic building and will be and will serve us well for many years. It is now my pleasure to introduce somebody I get a chance to work with. Sometimes we both think we work too much together, but he is an outstanding colleague. He's chairman of our board of trustees. He himself is a legend in the area of engineering and civil engineering. He has served this university well. He was on the Student Senate. He was a leader in the Pi Cap fraternity. And as I said, he is currently the chair of our board of trustees. He graduated in 1972. He lived on campus in his fraternity house. He is a tireless advocate for this university, for our students, our faculty, our curriculum, and for the kind of work we're now doing in the construction on this campus. Steve, would you please come to the podium?
Thank you, Joel. Thank you for your generous comments. And good morning, everyone. As a very proud alumnus of NCE at NJIT and chairman of the Board of Trustees, I'd like to thank everyone associated with the Wellness and Event Center. These things don't happen by themselves. They don't happen because of one or two people. They happen because of the team, and the team is assembled here today. Give yourselves a great round of applause. Thank you for all your efforts. Once completed, this building will complement the transformation of our campus and continue to enhance our reputation as a nationally recognized STEM university. The Board of Trustees saw the need for this building and enthusiastically supported it. It wasn't too hard to support this building. In fact, the gym that the WEC Center will replace was brand new nearly 50 years ago, when many of us, including myself, first started as freshmen here at this university. And we had a lot less students at that time than we do today. So it is sorely and desperately needed. I know I speak for all the board members when I say that we are happy and thrilled to be breaking ground today on this great new improvement. Everyone involved should know that you are helping to construct something that will be the flagship building here at NJIT, one that will serve so many groups in so many needed ways. Students will use it to stay fit and relieve the rigors of academics and relieve stress. Athletes, both intercollegiate and intramural, will use it to practice and to compete. Staff, faculty, and alumni will use it to exercise and stay well. By having a large arena space that retracts into an even larger event space, the center will host academic and professional conferences. Engineering associations will have their annual meetings here, as will national architecture and design groups right here on our NJIT campus. We will be able to host many of our academic and student life events here at the WEC Center. The Wellness and Event Center will not only help raise NJIT's profile as a leading STEM university, but will also benefit the city of Newark. More visitors to Newark will boost the local economy and hasten the ongoing renaissance of Newark in Essex County. It is certainly gratifying to see Newark, Essex County, and NJIT growing and improving together. It's also important to put this center in its proper context. This is not a standalone project, but it is part of NJIT's overall strategic plan that calls for investment in buildings and as well as investments in academics to improve the campus for NJIT students and for our community. The Institute's overall $300 million capital budget includes a new parking deck, a life sciences and engineering building, as well as the completion of the Central King building. And that work follows on the heels of the residential honors the Dorman Honors College dorm, as well as the Greek Village houses. And certainly, we've made tremendous improvements to researching and teaching labs, including a whole host of smart classrooms. These investments are helping NJIT to enhance its teaching, research, as well as our recreational needs, while also boosting the local economy to bring more people to the campus and more economic activity to Newark and Essex County. This is a day to remember, a groundbreaking that will expand and enhance the urban mosaic that NJIT is a part of. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce a fellow alumnus and an NJIT champion, Deputy Majority Leader Paul Sarlo, from the class of 1992 and 1995. I think you all know Paul is a fantastic Highlander who has undying support for our teams. Paul is also an outstanding NJIT athlete in his own right, having been recognized as a member of our NJIT Hall of Fame for his accomplishments in baseball. But what you don't know about Paul is he is also a champion of programs for women, children, and urban renewal, for the improvement of volunteer firefighters and rescue squads, and for economic and academic development, and so many other worthy causes. I'm so proud to introduce fellow alumnus Paul Sarlo.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to see a great crowd here on the what was be known as the former soccer field here at NJIT, and it's great to be back here. Before I begin, I just want to also recognize Joe DiVincenzo. I am also the mayor of a very small town in Bergen County, the town that I was born and raised in, played Little League, built a home and raised my family, and continue to coach there. But Joe D is the mayor of Essex County. And when you drive through this county and see the progress that goes on, it's just amazing, Joe. Counties around the state should take notice of what you're doing here. So congratulations to you and your leadership. To Dr. Bloom, I met your wife today. I said, it's Paul Sarlo who's texting all night in the middle of the night. It's only Paul Sarlo who's texting him and called him. We speak often, and as the chairman of the Senate Budget Appropriations Committee, I speak to many of our college and university presidents across the state of New Jersey. But Joel Bloom is one who is always on the phone with me, especially during budget time, of course. And we are constantly communicating on ways we could continue to improve this great university. And Joel, more than just being a president and a colleague, and you've become a good friend. And you've become an advisor and a mentor to me on many higher education issues here in the state of New Jersey. And I'm going to encourage you to continue to do that. Continue to educate me on the importance of investing in higher education here in the state of New Jersey, because you're not just helping this campus, you're helping students across the state of New Jersey who today are in kindergarten through 12, continue to be a leader in higher education in the state of New Jersey. Thank you. To the great faculty here, to the great dean, to the great researchers, thank you for what you do for our students, what you've done for me, what you've done for so many other folks. You are the lifeline. You are what makes this university so great and so wonderful. To Lenny Kaplan, our athletic director, another great leader here in protecting our student athletes, always on the cutting edge, taking from a small Division III program to a Division I program. There was many folks out there who said it can't happen, it won't work. And Lenny, you've proved them all wrong. You've made it happen, you've made it successful. And for the last decade or so, I think I've spent more time driving to NJIT than I did when I was a student here, because the remarkable progress that's happening here is due to so many folks. You know, whether it's the Central King building, whether it's the Life and Sciences building, whether it's the Gateway projects, the residential halls, whether it's the announcement for the Atlantic Sun Conference. When my office calls, there's another groundbreaking, there's another ribbon cutting, they'd like you to come down to NJIT, I always say try to make it work because it's exciting. I remember driving here in my little old four-door Toyota that was a hand-me-down. Now I have all these fancy computers and GPS. I don't need it to get to NJIT. But it's remarkable what has been done in this university over the past 10 years. And it's because of all the leadership in this room, but it's also because of your great board of trustees and the fundraisers here, the alumni who go into their pockets, who've been successful. This building, this WEC building, with private financing, none of this is possible without a great board of trustees who are leaders in this state, leaders in their profession. Many of them have hired me. I see Emil Herkert, they hired me. That was my first job out of college, working for the old Killam Associates. I tried to go to Shore DePalma, right, Steve? You got... I tried to go. They rejected me, so I had to go to Killam Associates. But I wanted to go there first. But this board of trustees, leaders in the engineering field, leaders in the business world, leaders of consulting engineering firms, continue to come back, continue to go in their pocket. That's what makes projects like this so great. To talk about the amount of money, the $100 million plus of dollars that have been raised to make this happen for our athletes and our student athletes is just amazing. We here at NJIT could not do it without our great fundraising network. And as times get difficult, they never let this president down, they never let this faculty down, and they never let these students down. So thank you to our board of trustees, and thank you to all of the fundraising arms out there. Continue. Please, go in your pocket, continue to help this great university. And you can clap for that, absolutely. And last night I was speaking to Kelly, who was with me today, and she said, do you want prepared remarks? I said, nah, no prepared remarks today. I just want to speak a little bit off the cuff. And I want to speak to a little bit to our athletes here, our student athletes and our students who are going to be able to benefit from this building. Now, I know some of you may be seniors and are moving on and about to enter what we sometimes call the real world. But hopefully you will be able to come back here and utilize these facilities. I truly can say in my profession, as a civil engineer and the CEO of a large construction company, as somebody who continues to coach at many different levels and coach baseball and basketball and baseball and football, that I've truly been blessed. I've truly been blessed because I had the opportunity to come to NJIT, to play sports, to play baseball here at NJIT, to receive a bachelor's and to receive a master's of science in civil engineering from NJIT. Each and every one of you have the greatest opportunity in the world. I came from a family, a hardworking blue-collar family in South Bergen. I built a house around the corner from where my mom and dad lived. My mom still lives there. I didn't go far. I drove down Route 21 every day to come here, and it has made a complete difference in my life and in my family. And that's why I try to give back as much as I can to NJIT. When you're here in those classrooms, whether you're here on the athletic fields or you're on the courts, you don't think so. You don't think about what the future holds. But I tell you, all of the success that I've had, whether it's in the professional world as the CEO of a large construction company, whether it's as the chairman of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee and the deputy majority leader in the Senate, 14 years now, whether it's coaching kids on the athletic field, whether it's raising a family, a lot of that success goes back to what I learned here at NJIT. So to our athletes, our student athletes, to our students, take advantage of this building. It's not just about what you do in the classroom. It's about relieving that stress. It's about enjoying one another, sharing stories, working out together, staying in shape, feeling good about yourself, invigorating yourself. Take advantage of this WEC building. It's been many years of hard work by a lot of people. It's costing a lot of money, but it's well worth it. And I am proud to be part of it. And thank you, Dr. Bloom, for giving me the opportunity to address you today. God bless you all.
Before we move along, I just want to thank Senator Sarlo again for joining us here at the podium. He always has the passion for just stopping by and coming by because he feels like I do. This is home for us, and this makes a difference if we can make the difference in more people's lives. But I want to remind everybody tonight, our Dr. Bloom, I want us all to stand and give him a wonderful, wonderful send-off for this evening. He is being honored tonight as the Educator of the Year by the Research and Development Council of New Jersey. Congratulations, Dr. Bloom. All right, so moving right along, we're going to now go to wonderful Mr. Charlie Fay. Dr. Fay was named a pillar of the professional NASPA. I think I said that correctly, which is the leading educational association for student affairs. Charlie, can you come meet me at the podium, please, sir?
Thank you very much. You know, just as Central King Building and the new Life Sciences Building are changing the learning landscape of the institution, so too will the Wellness and Event Center and the new soccer field change the landscape for student engagement on this campus. We're very happy to have this opportunity. It is now my great pleasure to present Dr. Michael Siegel, who is in his 5th year as the faculty athletics representative working with Lenny Kaplan and the athletic department. Michael is a professor in the Department of Mathematical Sciences, and he's also the director of the Center for Applied Mathematics and Statistics, where he is known to be playing with drops and bubbles while developing efficient, non-stiff, boundary integral methods for 3D interfacial flow. Oh, with surface tension, of course. Beloved by his students, he has insisted on returning from a 3-month visiting professorship in Sweden at the KJH. He said he would only take it if he was back here for this event. Thank you. Let me present Dr. Michael Siegel.
Thank you, Charlie. As Charlie mentioned, I'm the faculty athletics representative at NJIT, or FAR, sometimes known as. And I couldn't be more proud than to be here today for the beginning of something that has been so long in the making. So as the FAR, I act as a liaison between athletics and academics here at NJIT. And in my role as FAR, I get to know many of the student athletes, often on a personal level. And for many of these students, I couldn't tell you, honestly, if they're the last one off the bench or the star of their team. But what I can tell you is how impressed I am with the intelligence and the talent and the drive and especially the discipline of these students as in their chosen academic fields. These students come from all over the world to study at NJIT, and they get involved in many activities outside of athletics, and they bring diversity here and a unique perspective to the university. I also don't want to forget the potentially transformative role that having event center space can bring to the university. In the Department of Mathematics, we have, for the last 12 years, hosted a major applied mathematics conference. We call it the Frontiers in Applied and Computational Mathematics. And I'm excited by the opportunity to use this event space as part of our conference. And no doubt there'll be many other faculty and researchers and others who are excited by the opportunities that such an event space would open up. Finally, I want to take this opportunity to stump, or I want to take this opportunity here to stump for some space for the mathletes. That's with an M, mathletes on our campus. A little space in the event and recreation center. We don't need much. We don't ask for much. Maybe a little room with a blackboard and a huge eraser, a big eraser, and a continuous stream of coffee. That's all we ask for. So Lenny, maybe we can talk. In closing, I want to thank everyone who's been able to get this to happen. Of course, President Joel Bloom, the Board of Trustees and the Board of Overseers, and Lenny Kaplan, the athletic director, and many others who have been involved in the getting this thing off the ground. I really can't wait to use it. Thank you.
Okay, Lenny, that means you have one more job. You have to find a math room to make that happen. Thank you, Professor Siegel. Our next speaker is a legend in NJIT's athletics, having served as a coach, an athletic director, and a professor. In fact, his leadership has brought 12 different men, earned 17 All-American honors, and 5 went on to play professionally, including Herman Chico Borja, who started for the New York Cosmos and a regular on the United States national team during the 80s. The embodiment of dignity, class, and sportsmanship, Mal has made innumerable contributions to NCE and NJIT and has inspired generations of students. Mal, will you please join me, please, here at the podium? Thank you, sir.
First, I have to apologize for my Bernie Sanders hairdo. I recently had eye surgery, and I'm not allowed to get a haircut for a couple more weeks. The choice of November 12th for today's groundbreaking ceremonies is coincidentally relevant for me, for as November 12th, 1955 was the final home game of my first coaching season in soccer. Some of you may remember Bob Swanson and Paul Hauser. They were my colleagues in the Department of Physical Education, and we were aided by a number of volunteer faculty coaches for an active program of athletics and student activities. Our home field in those days was Newark's Branch Brook Park. For about 15 years, the students had to drive their own cars to practice, and which paid off later in the season because when it got dark, we had to turn on our first NCE lighted field with the headlights from the cars. So that gave us another half hour of practice. In 1973, along with the building, we had our first grass field on campus. And I remember the initial practice when the players came out on field, they knelt and kissed the grass. For a few years, it was possible for one of the soccer players to make a pass to another player and to get there, because the other fields that we were on had so many clumps and holes that it was a mystery that they would do that. But we did have a very heavy program on the field of physical education, soccer, intramurals, interfraternities, recreation, and even baseball. So it wasn't long before the field wore out. And we had an alumnus, you all know, I'm sure, it's Ed Cruz, class of '62. He replaced our field. Then a few years later, we had graduation on the field. Now, if you think this tent is big, you can imagine a tent the size of the whole field. And after ceremonies, the next day, it rained. Oh, we also, by the way, had 2 fire trucks over where the stadium is. So we had 2 days of rain. The fire trucks had to get towed out. And when they pulled the stakes out that they had put in to keep the tent down, the field looked like a disaster zone. Ed Cruz to the rescue again. Then Lubetkin Field, after I retired, was installed. And today we begin the process of moving on to the next field. Our only gym in the early days was on the 4th floor of Campbell Hall, which I believe is somewhere located in the School of Architecture. We played phys ed. Oh, by the way, the locker room, I was reminded by an alumni here, was on the basement. So you had to run up 4 floors and down. But we had intramural and fraternity leagues, basketball, very busy program, and the popular dance club, which some alumni might remember. Our dance club was years ahead of today's internet dating services. Co-eds came in busloads from colleges and nursing schools. And not a few of our alumni married the wives that they met there that year. We knew what it was to have limited facilities, but we made do. NJIT's enrollment has gone far behind our years. So even with the current facilities, it has become increasingly difficult to meet the students' needs and interests. I applaud President Joel Bloom, the Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents Charlie Fay, Fadi Deek, and Charles Deese, and the faculty, administrators, and students who took part in the planning and approval of the Wellness and Fitness Center, and Event Center. If any university needs such a facility, it is NJIT. But the new facility by itself does not guarantee athletic excellence. This will come from the leadership of Athletic Director Len Kaplan and his support staff and coaches, all who believe in the proper balance of academics and athletics. In this respect, NJIT is second to none. What will make it all worthwhile are our student athletes. These young men and women are outstanding and deserve the best. For example, the seniors recently honored at the final home games of the men's and women's soccer teams, some of who are in the Honors College, have a cumulative GPA of 3.45 and 3.25 respectively. This academic excellence is typical of all our teams. I am proud to be associated with a university that exemplifies the highest of academic and athletic excellence, and I look forward to the opening of the Wellness and Event Center in September 2017.
Mel, that was just wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. So this person really doesn't need much introduction, but I'm going to talk a little bit about Lenny Kaplan. Let me just say this to you. Lenny works tirelessly to bring us to where we are today, along with all the other administrators here. During last season alone, NJIT's men's basketball team defeated Michigan, which you've heard about, and the men's soccer toppled the number 22 Navy, while fencing had several national champions last year. NJIT's women's team have been growing and thriving, as have all athletic students. In fact, the combined grade point average of Highlander students, athletes have been about 3.0 for 12 straight seasons through spring of 2015. What an accomplishment that is. Lenny has recently been named Division I Administrator of the Year by the Eastern College Athletic Conferences. Please help me welcome the wonderful, the warm, and powerful Lenny Kaplan.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Highlander Nation. I want to welcome all of our faculty, staff, friends, student athletes, Board of Trustees, and overseers. It's a great day to be a Highlander, and after all, commonality among us is that we are all Highlanders. Getting this building built has been on my list for 16 years, and I'm very excited to finally get the shovel in the ground. This Wellness and Event Center was conceived and designed to meet the ever-growing needs of our university community. It is likely at one point, every member of the NJIT community will be in this building, whether for open house, convocation, career fair, alumni weekend, intramurals, or attending some of the nearly 100 athletic events we host every year. But for one group, our student athletes, many here today, this will be their new home. This facility will be the new home of NJIT Athletics. As the athletic director, it is important to me that we give our coaches, staff, and student athletes the best facilities in which to train and compete. This facility, when completed, will have the best technology, training, and support spaces we can provide and be a game changer for many of our teams. Just as excited as I am to get this facility started, I am equally excited to see this through to completion. And from my office, right above the field, I get to have a front row seat. Our facilities have served us well and would not have been possible without the support of the Fleischer and Lubetkin families. Although members of the Fleischer family cannot be with us today, I would like to thank Charlie Lubetkin, who I know is here. Charlie, thank you. Charlie, along with his brothers Alvin and Bernie, have continually supported NJIT and have a great love for this university. Charlie, I promise you, when construction is over, the new Lubetkin Field at Simon Stadium will be something you can be proud of. Thank you, Charlie. In closing, I want to say a quick thank you to Dr. Bloom and the trustees for seeing the importance of this facility and giving it the green light to move ahead. Thank you. I would like now to introduce Cameron Spahn, a junior civil engineering major from the Albert Dorman Honors College. She's a 3-year member of our women's basketball team and on the executive board of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee to speak on behalf of the student athletes. Cameron?
Hey guys, thank you so much, Mr. Kaplan. No one has worked harder to push the Wellness and Event Center, and to everybody involved with this project, on behalf of all the student athletes, thank you so much for doing this for us. Thank you for supporting us. I'm humbled to be in this lineup of speakers and understand that there are many student athletes out there more qualified to be speaking to you today than me, but I'm really excited to have this opportunity to talk to you about what the Wellness and Event Center means to the athletes at NJIT. So unfortunately, I, like my fellow upperclassmen, won't actually have the opportunity to play in the arena, but the current freshman and sophomore classes will. And although we're all pretty jealous, we could not be more excited for them. At least we have the comfort of knowing that us and everyone who's ever been an athlete at NJIT, all of the early morning practices, the blood, the sweat, the tears, has brought NJIT athletics to this point, to the point where the need for a new arena has been illustrated. And it's sort of bittersweet to know that we won't be able to visit Fleischer, the place that was home to our collegiate careers, but we have the comfort of knowing that the memories and friendships that we have made cannot be erased. Our only request is that the athletes who will have the opportunity to practice and play in the arena will never forget the quirky charm and limited luxuries of the Fleischer Athletic Center. Remember not to take the luxury for granted. Remember what it was like for us to take ice baths huddled together in garbage cans. For my female athletes, don't forget the labyrinth you would have to navigate to get from the locker room to the gym. And one of my favorite parts, the full-out Hunger Games style war that would erupt between the athletes over the limited washer and dryer spaces. You know, like I may look clean now, but if you caught a whiff of me after a 3-hour practice, you would understand the importance of such a luxury as small as working washers and dryers. But don't worry, as you see, these stories live on, and they will be told when we come back to cheer on those who will play in the WEC. And we'll never forget how great the NJIT family has been to us. After all, this facility is for the entirety of the school. Even so, it was made with us, the student athletes, in mind, and we couldn't be more thankful. We know that all of our hard work has finally paid off, and if there was one thing that we got out of the physical closeness forged from being on top of one another at 6 a.m. in the training room, it was the bonds and memories that will last our lifetimes. I hope that those athletes and students who will use the Wellness and Events Center will find in that space the same friendships that we forged in the old gym. A new building will probably last about 50 years or so, but a strong friendship with a teammate never dies. So congratulations, Highlanders. When you step out into that field or court and look at all of those seats, just take it all in and know that you deserve this. Thank you.
And I'd like to invite up our Student Senate President and member of our track team, Rajit Das. Raj?
All right, thank you, Mr. Kaplan. Now that Cameron has touched upon the new benefits to the student-athlete experience, I would like to bring to light how this project will change the life of every NJIT, the everyday NJIT student. Let me just start by saying how much of an honor it is to speak in front of some of the most distinguished members of the NJIT family, as well as the excited group of Highlanders out in the crowd. As a student leader, I have served on the planning committee for this building and have seen its progression over the past year. In our current athletic center, we can all agree that the biggest issue for anyone is the maze-like layout of the building. The Wellness and Events Center will be the complete opposite in that sense. As the designs reach completion, you'll notice that everything from the colors of the walls to the direction of the lighting naturally directs students throughout the building. The building will also no longer be a concrete fortress, but will rather serve as a cornerstone of the university, opening up to the center of the campus. The sophisticated outdoor seating at the intersection of the soccer field and the upper green will promote social interaction. And on that note, for a long time, I have seen and preached the need for student-wide unification. And this building is the answer to that ever so difficult riddle. The building has the perfect balance of interaction and separation between the students and the student athletes. There are so many different public spaces available for students to use without interference with the agendas of the various coaches and their teams. But the unification lies in the 3,500-seat arena. Currently, we have seating on one side of the court. But in a few years, our visiting teams will come to New York intimidated, playing surrounded on all sides by a crowd of screaming Highlander fans who will stick with their team, win or lose. So, thank you all for being here today to witness the beginning of another chapter in the NJIT history books. Again, I promise you that in all aspects, the facility will make every student proud to call this campus their home. It will be the final piece of the puzzle to unite our student body. And when all is said and done, we'll finally win together as one NJIT. Thank you.
All right, we've had a wonderful morning, and thank you to our athletic students. We're just so proud of you, we really are. So continue your journey, and we're always here, and then we'll be alumni real soon, hanging out together. So thank you, Raj, for those comments, and Cameron for your comments. So we're moving right along here. I just want to make sure that you understand that this is just an exciting day for so many of us. So we're getting ready to roll a video now, because we're going to move into our next phase, and I think that's teed up to go. So NJIT Next campaign has been an incredible undertaking by our Dr. Charles D. NJIT's Vice President for the University Advancement and President and COO of the Foundation at NJIT. Dr. D's is no stranger to success, having increased giving at substantial rates at NJIT, the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Fairleigh Dickinson, and Seton Hall. Dr. D's, will you please join me here at the podium?
Thank you, Marjorie, and welcome. It's a great tribe, great morning. As we all know, it takes a team for any great accomplishment, and so I'm going to acknowledge some of the members of the campaign leadership, past and present. Co-chairs Steve Cordes, who's sitting in the front, Steve, class of '72. Nick DiNicola, who is not here today, but a class of '73 and '78. He's the CEO of Hatchmont McDonald. Vince D'Amoli, class of '62. Other members of the committee who are here today, Steve DePalma, who you've already met, Steve. Peter Sestero, who's sitting in the front row, I believe, Peter. Karen Fryer D'Souza, who's also here. Karen, thank you. And Emil Harkert. Emil, thank you. Honorary chairs of the campaign are Al Dorman, class of '45, the late Seymour Zoom Fleischer, class of '51, and the late Bill Guttenberg, class of '44. The new campaign leadership includes Henry Dobler, who Henry I don't believe is here today, class of '66 and '68. Steve Califer, who is here today. Steve, please. Thanks. King Moy, class of '77 and '74 and '77, and Mel Simon, who you heard from earlier. Mel, thank you. We've had an historical and unprecedented success for NJIT over the last few years, as together we propelled this life-altering campaign for the university to a historical first, adding millions of dollars to student scholarships, to research, to other strategic university needs, including campus infrastructure improvements and growth. And here today to tell us about that is NJIT Trustee and Co-Vice Chair of the NJIT Next Campaign Leadership Committee, Stephen Cordes. Steve.
Thank you, Chuck. It's really wonderful to be here, especially since, like Steve DePalma, I was here when the original facility was built, and it gives me great pleasure to participate today in this program. Secondly, I think it's wonderful to be here for the simple reason that this community, I'd call it, has raised $150 million, and I'd like to hear a round of applause for that. The fact that we did it 2 years early is just icing on the cake. NJIT's transformation in the past few decades has been pretty astounding. We've grown from a small engineering school into a large doctoral research university that's one of the top-ranked public polytechnic in the nation. Our annual celebration fundraiser, which happens tomorrow, has added more than $5.5 million to new scholarships over the last few years since it's been in place, helping students afford an excellent education without having to work that extra job, and they can graduate and earn top dollar when they graduate. Construction on campus has created much needed amenities, including the Namoli Family and Athletic Center recreational facility, which opened in 2010. And in 2013, the Warren Street Village opened that added wonderful dorms and Greek life space. During the same time, we were able, as you heard earlier, to acquire the former Central High School, now Central King building, which added another 200,000 square feet of classroom, lab, and interactive space to the campus. President Bloom likes to talk about the 67 new faculty members that have joined NJIT in the last 4 years, including 17 outstanding young faculty this year. It's no wonder that our research dollars, especially those recent awards, are up by tens of millions of dollars, and our research expenditures exceeded $110 million in 2015. Last year, we created New Jersey Innovation Institute and NJIT Corporation, led by Don Sebastian, and just last year, NJII brought in a $49.6 million grant to transform healthcare delivery in New Jersey. I think when you look at all of these together, it's really a commendable activity that we've all put ourselves forward to achieve, and we've done more than what we've set out to achieve. So our efforts are paying off. Our investments are helping educate young people who go on to make great contributions to society. Our investments are helping solve societal problems, from traumatic brain injury to extreme poverty and hunger in Africa. And our investments are aimed at securing the future, from special relationships with colleges around the globe, universities around the globe. And when you add to that what we've accomplished here in the physical sense, from Big Bear Solar Observatory in California to those improvements that we've made locally, it's all been possible with your help. And it really shouldn't be taken for granted that that help is always available. You know, thanks to the vision of NJIT leaders like Dr. Bloom, Provost Deek, the trustees, the overseers, and others, we're part of an amazing center of excellence that's influencing the world more and more each day. So what's next? Today we're announcing that our momentum is so strong it would be illogical to try and stop it. Yes, we've just raised $150 million, and in fact we're, as of the end of last month, at $159 million. So let's keep going. Today we announced that we're extending the NJIT Next campaign and seeking to raise an additional $50 million. The new $50 million will continue to support critical areas including financial aid for students, faculty recruitment, research, and new academic institutions and centers. NJIT is better than ever, and this effort will allow us to keep pushing this bar ever higher. So I want to thank you for your past support and to say that we're going to be speaking with you shortly about your future ideas and your commitment. Thank you.
So, on behalf of Dr. Bloom, the trustees, we want to really thank all the speakers. We want to thank all of the guests that have come today. We want you to sit for just 2 more minutes because this is where we really do ceremonial pieces. And just remind you one more thing, is that this is just the beginning of where we're getting ready to go next. So please remain seated. I'm going to call the following people forward for the groundbreaking. May we have Deputy Majority Leader, Senator Sarlo. Is Assemblywoman Grace Spencer here? County Joe, is the county exec still here? Can you join us, please? Dr. Bloom, Steve DePalma, Steve Cordis, Phil Beecham, Peter Sistero, Gary Dim, Vince DiCaprio, Steve Califer, I hope I said that right, Mal Simon, Charlie Fay, Mike Siegel, Mr. Lenny Kaplan, and our wonderful, wonderful students. We're going to have Ms. Camera and Mr. Rajat. Did I say that correctly? Please join us to the left here.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
I was a supervisor.